All right, good morning, guys. And first and foremost, happy Thanksgiving. I was not really planning on making a video today. I was just going to enjoy my Thanksgiving for the most part. I am working on another bigger video that I can't wait to finish for you guys. But I wasn't really planning on making a video. I was probably just going to do like a post telling everybody happy Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. However, there has been some really big news that I just saw. And that news is that Nintendo has made a really big acquisition. Nintendo has officially, or they are planning to acquire Bandai Namco of Singapore. This is a pretty big deal. So Bandai Namco, as you guys know, or as should know, they are the ones that helped Masahiro Sakurai develop Kirby Air Riders. They're also the ones that worked on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with Masahiro Sakurai. So this acquisition is a big deal. Now again, it's not the entirety of Bandai Namco. It's only Bandai Namco of Singapore. Now I don't know if Bandai Namco of Singapore had anything to do with this last game, which was Kirby Air Riders. Maybe they did. There's a strong possibility. But what we do know is that they're best known for the game design, the art style, level designs and things like that for Splatoon. So that is what they're best known for. And if you look at the Splatoon games, they have really nice level designs. It has a very nice and unique art style to it. So this is pretty cool. This is a pretty good this is good news. So Nintendo is very smart when it comes to their acquisitions, all right? They're not like stupid ass PlayStation that just randomly acquires these big giant studios just for the sake of making big headlines like they did with Bungie. They did that, they were just thinking short term. They saw Microsoft and Xbox making these other big stupid acquisitions, just buying Activision, buying Bethesda, buying all these other, big giant studios, these very popular Western studios. And, PlayStation, I guess, saw that, and all they were thinking is they're making all these big headlines, we need to do something big. So they acquired Bungie, thinking that they were just thinking short term, like, yeah, this is gonna make headlines. Look, PlayStation is buying the studio that once worked on the Halo games. That was pretty much their thinking for the most part. And I guess they were also thinking, oh, and they're good at multiplayer games, they're good at doing live service games, so maybe that will really benefit us well. And of course it didn't. They ended up wasting $4 billion so far on that acquisition alone. But Nintendo is smart because Nintendo has always been all about, organic growth. They don't just, they don't waste their money on these, big studios and trying to purchase, these franchises and IPs that they really don't need because, they're creative enough to make their own. They have an entire library and archive of just great franchises. Some of them have been floating around in obscurity, but that's because they could only do so much. When it comes to their main intellectual property, Mario, Zelda, even Donkey Kong as of late, even like Kirby, Kirby's not an A-list franchise, but he is still pretty popular. He's got his following. There's the Pikmin games. There's plenty of good, franchises that Nintendo has that they've been consistent with, right? They've been very consistent. They've been consistently giving us the big games that we look forward to the most. But I know for sure that Nintendo wants to start bringing back these other games. I mean, we just saw them bring back Donkey Kong in the best way possible. They weren't lazy with it either. It wasn't just another run-of-the-mill Donkey Kong Country game. It was a big, huge 3D platforming adventure. It was the best of its genre and the most unique of its kind. And on top of that, they just made it extremely fun with the punching mechanics, the destructible environments, and everything like that. They made it the ultimate love letter to Donkey Kong fans as well. So I believe Nintendo is really wanting to bring back these old franchises, okay, whether it's F-Zero, Star Fox, you know, Kid Icarus, even though Kid Icarus did have a really good game apparently on the 3DS, which I might end up getting. But this is what I think Nintendo wants to do ultimately, and that's why they, you know, whenever they make these acquisitions, they don't, you know, make acquisitions to purchase a certain franchise, a certain intellectual property, or just to get the big name studio that's going to make headlines. No, they don't do anything. They literally look for just talent. Okay, they always try to acquire talent that is going to work on their first party games. And I believe the end goal for Nintendo is basically to have enough talented developers, game developers, that are going to really help them, you know, it's going to speed up the development time of their video games. Now, like I said, Bandai Namco of Singapore, what they're best known for is the level designs, the artwork, and stuff like that for their video games, and it was mainly Splatoon that they worked on when it comes to, you know, working with Nintendo. So it seems like they're getting these guys so they can help out with doing more of that kind of stuff for their video games. And that's pretty smart. That's really good. Anything they can do to shorten the development time for their video games, they're going to do it. And that's a very smart strategy. You know, they want to be able to, they don't want development times to take so long. They already do it better than everybody else right now in gaming. You look at all these other studios, I mean, freaking Rockstar, they have like 1,000 game developers that are apparently working on GTA 6. Maybe not all 1,000, but I mean, they have 1,000 game developers, and they've been working on GTA 6 for how long now? And that game just keeps getting delayed, keeps getting delayed. You know, Nintendo doesn't do that bullshit. Nintendo doesn't waste time with, you know, trying to make the game as graphically as impressive as possible, while making it a giant open world game with voice acting, with all of these, you know, with all these dialogues and everything, cutscenes. You know, they minimize so much of that crap because they're just trying to make a really fun video game, not spend too much on it, try to make it as quick as possible, and, you know, hopefully it sells very well. Perfect example being is Splatoon. Splatoon, that is a game that I think usually cost them only $10 million to make, and it ends up profiting them about $700 million to possibly $1 billion because it ends up selling like over 10 million copies or so. So that is pretty much the strategy that Nintendo goes for when it comes to making these acquisitions. So Bandai Namco of Singapore, you know, it will officially turn into a Nintendo subsidiary by April of 2026. And once that happens, it's just going to be called Nintendo Studios of Singapore. So yeah, in my opinion, this is great news. Nintendo knows what they're doing. Like I said, they are very smart when it comes to these acquisitions. They don't make stupid acquisitions at all. They don't do things for headlines, or they don't think short term. They always think in the long term. This is really good, and not too long ago, they made that acquisition for Shiver. I think it was Shiver Entertainment, and they're the ones that are most known for porting over Hogwarts Legacy to the Switch, and that was a pretty big deal at the time. So who knows what they're going to do with them. I'm curious to see what they're going to do. People think they're going to be working on Grand Theft Auto 6 for the Switch too. Maybe, but I would also like to think that they acquired them just to, you know, remaster some of their older intellectual property and things like that. But anyways, I want you guys to let me know in the comments what you think about this acquisition. Do you think this is definitely going to basically make the development time for video games much shorter? You know, now that they have more talent to contribute to making their first party video games. You know, again, like I said, the Bandai Namco of Singapore, they're best known for doing the artwork and the level designs for Splatoon. And that, I mean, at least when it comes to working with Nintendo, that's basically what they're known for. So that's what they're renowned for, let's just say that. And it seems like that's why Nintendo has gotten them. I don't know if they've done any of that for Kirby Air Riders. It's a good possibility that they did work on or have some involvement and Kirby Air Riders. Don't forget, this isn't all of Bandai Namco. This is just Bandai Namco of Singapore. And I'm curious to know how big they are over there, or how many game developers that is. But nevertheless, it's an acquisition. I think it's a very smart one. Nintendo cares more about that. They care more about hiring talent, and talent that is going to just, you know, get more of their video games done faster, so they could put out more video games quicker and sooner. Like I said, these big Western studios, you know, they focus on the wrong thing, and because of that, their games take freaking forever to hit the market, and when they finally do, they don't sell all that great, you know. So this is a great thing. This is awesome news to wake up to. Again, happy Thanksgiving to all you guys out there. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. You think this was a smart acquisition? What do you think? What kind of games do you think they'll be used to work on going forward with Nintendo? Will it be every game? Will it just be a select few? What do you think they're going to do? What do you think Shiver Entertainment is going to do for Nintendo? Why do you think Nintendo acquired them? And what exactly do you think they're going to be doing for Nintendo? Is it going to be porting over these third-party games? Is it going to be making new games for Nintendo, or remastering some of their older games that have been sitting in obscurity for a while? Or just making a sequel to those games? I mean, they can easily just make a new F-Zero game, maybe, if they're good enough to just, I don't know, remake F-Zero X or GX and just make it an entirely new game or something like that. I'm curious to see what's going to happen, but these are all smart acquisitions in my opinion. These all make sense. So anyways, with that being said, you guys take care. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, leave as many comments as you can. I don't care if you don't like this channel, just do it anyways. With that being said, I'll talk to you guys later.